Just on this exit payment, what did you know about it before today?
Well, I was aware that there'd been a payment. I wasn't aware of the amount, and nor should I be. This is an employment matter. If I did know, the last thing you would want would be a minister trying to insert themselves in an employment dispute and negotiate it. I think that would be a big mistake. So I think they've actually handled it really well, given that they had a person who'd signed a contract under a set of laws. Paula Bennett and the board don't control that. I think they have managed a challenging circumstance quite well, given all those circumstances.
Yeah, there's a difference between inserting yourself and knowing about it. Surely as the minister you'd want to be assured that funds were being used appropriately. Would you not expect to know about it given the size of the figure?
I like to know about things I can do things about. If I was going to be able to do something about it, I'd want to know. But there's no way that as a minister I would get involved in an employment dispute and say, oh, no, don't give her that much or give her more. That would be really Banana Republic stuff.
So no concerns about not knowing about six-figure exit payments?
No, because there's nothing I would do about it. It would be, in a way, inappropriate. If people tell me things, it's because they want me to do something. I don't want people telling me things I'm not going to do anything about all day. That's just passive. I didn't get elected to be passive.
So what do you make of the amount? It's quite a sizable one.
Well, again, I'm not here to pass judgment on it. You've got to bear in mind that that was only 2/3 of the person's salary. 8 months' salary. So you might say, well, they get paid an awful lot. On the other hand, if I look at what people get paid to be, say, just one doctor or a lawyer in a flash firm downtown, actually the person who's responsible for nearly $2 billion of medicine funding doesn't get paid as much as a lot of them. So I think they've got it about right.
What gives you confidence of that? Just because of if you compare it to what this person was on, and presumably, you presumably can't confirm this, but you could ask the question: was this exit payment for Sarah Fitt?
Well, again, I'm not commenting on it, but clearly there's been a person who has been paid, about 2/3 of their salary, and that person has, moved on. There's circumstances around it that, because of employment law, we're not going to tell the world about. Nonetheless, I think what's really important is we've got a great chief executive who's making really good work, leading a great team of people, and that's what really matters here.
Do you think it aligns with the values of your party and Pharmac more broadly? Your party is about making sure that every dollar goes as far as it can, and when we look at Pharmac, you ask anyone, you'd say every dollar matters, right? And you'd probably...
Yeah. So the way that we express that is I put the right people, hire the right people in the first place, have the right contracts, and have the right employment law. And so my party is putting the right people in place, contracting people well, and Brooke Van Velden's changing employment laws so we don't have these kinds of issues. It might be worth looking at what Brooke's proposed with people over $180,000. Can't take a personal grievance. Brooke's actually fixing this very thing, but that wasn't in place when whoever this person may be was hired years ago.
If Joe Bloggs were to look at Sarah Fitt's record as Pharmac CE, do you think that they would agree that she deserves this level of a payout?
Well, of course, I'm a great respecter of Joe Bloggs, but what's important in this circumstance is you've got to know all the facts, and even I don't know all of those facts because I, as a minister, shouldn't be involved in any employment dispute. That's just politicising, and that takes you to Banana Republic Place. So, yeah, I can understand there'd be people who would sit there and say, that's a lot of money, but I just put in the context that for someone at the top of an organisation like this, of this size, there's a lot of much smaller businesses and companies than Pharmac where the person near the top of the tree is getting paid more than this. That's the first thing. The second thing is, there were 8 months, and based on the law, the contract, the person, that was all put in place before we came along, that was the outcome we got to, and I think it was actually a good one under the circumstances.
But do you think it'll sting for patients who felt as though they were led through Pharmac by someone who was not empathetic, did not care, that you could list a number of concerns that they had about the former CE?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to take sides because, again, that's yesterday. I'm here, I'm fixing what matters, and we've put in place a great chair, a great board, a great CE, a new direction. We're getting on much better with people that we used to be picketing outside. All of those are positives.
So
I'm going to need to Pharmac myself.
Yeah. The chair mentioned that. The chair mentioned that the contract was what it was. Is it your understanding that the contract wasn't in the best shape, or is it a critique of what contract was struck up between that employee and the other party?
Well, I mean, the great irony is of course, you know, it's the former Labor minister who was the previous chair, and the Labor Party who were in government, I understand at the time, for this person. They actually should be taking responsibility for this. We dealt with the situation as we found it, and I think if you knew all the facts, you'd say you've dealt with it pretty well.
What can you tell us about those?
Look, basically nothing, because
Well,
that
if
would
you're
be...
saying the other side should take responsibility, but not saying what for.
Well, if they don't like the way it turned out, they were the ones that planted this particular seed. We just had to deal with the outcomes or the consequences of it.
As a result, have changes been made to the way that contracts are formed?
You'd be better to talk to Paula about that, but I would certainly expect so. I mean,
Just
bear in mind, I don't run them, I just set expectations, so, yeah.
You haven't sent any letters recently? Any more letters?
Oh, no, I try and keep my letters for when I want to make a big impact.
Right. Just the interview that you did on The Country, when asked about the CGT, saying that, well, most countries had slavery, but we thought it wasn't a good idea. Is that a comparison worth making?
Yeah.
CGT and slavery?
Yeah, because actually you end up working for someone else, and I think that's wrong.
A bit glib?
No, I think it's clear that there are some policies that are ridiculous. We get rid of them. They're both ridiculous policies. You might say that one's more extreme than the other, but what they have in common is they're both bad policies.
Do you want to clarify which one's more ridiculous than the other?
Well, clearly slavery is much worse than a capital gains tax, but they do have some things in common. They're both ridiculous.